Dr. Quentin Toth, Log Entries, 2012. Necessity knows no laws, and D-class personnel are, as much as many might wish to believe otherwise, a necessary evil. These men and women, who have been designated to participate in our most volatile experimental procedures across the Foundation, they are drawn from society's very worst, often convicts, those considered undesirable, or individuals who have been deemed expendable by the Ethics Committee and their HR proxies. Beyond menial work, they are most often used for testing and experimenting with the anomalous, and that is how we, regretfully, gain our most valuable of insights. Through their sacrifice, the world is protected, and so they are a vital organ of our mission statement. The Foundation has drafted strict protocols to ensure the safety and well-being of the D-class personnel under our care. However, mortality rates are inevitably always high, especially at Area 12.
The D-class is a really kind of interesting and also quite disturbing dynamic between a sense of creative ingenuity and brutal utilitarianism. The way that the suit was designed, the way that I came up with these ideas, was that I didn't want to just go with the sort of commonplace jumpsuit that you usually see prisoners wearing or sporting in different environments. What I really wanted to do was to create something unique, something that was a little bit different and a little bit more theme appropriate for the horror game that we were making. And so that spawned the idea that these guys would literally be wearing their own body bags. These suits double up in that sense, and they allow you to configure the body post-mortem. The suits themselves, they're designed to be able to clip the body, the wrists to their opposite shoulders, their ankles together, and basically configure the body into a way that they can be carried or transported much in the same position that they would be laid in when in like a coffin, right? So the way that these guys are designed is that all of the straps, all of the clips, everything about these suits is designed for disposing of these guys once they've died, because of course they're quite disposable and their mortality rates are extremely high, especially here at Area 12.
So the D-class usually you'll see throughout the lore and other pieces of media, they're simply just wearing a jumpsuit, which is totally fine. That's just how it's been. And seeing Kyle's new design, I didn't expect it at all. I didn't expect it to be so in-depth and so thought through. And I knew that this was going to be one of the funnest characters that I've worked on to date, and it ended up being the funnest character I've worked on to date. It's got, as he talked about before, so much utility to it, and that's really all they care about is utility, how we're going to dispose of these people, and then it makes you think of, well, what are the people that put these guys in these suits like? Like, they must go to extremes just to get what they want done. They have no care for their comfort. They have no care for who they are. They just want to use them for what they want to use them for and dispose of them when they're done. So it really shows that the Foundation is really just that sadistic.
So the hoods are really quite interesting. They serve a couple of different purposes, right? The hoods do, one of the main things that the hoods do is they remove the observable humanity, right? So, the scientists that are experimenting with these guys and sending these guys to death when they're either interacting or feeding SCPs, a lot of the time you're going to have people that can't grapple that emotionally or ethically, right? Their morals are going to stand in the way of that. And so one of the solutions that the Foundation has approached to deal with that is by obscuring the face and removing any visibility of the eyes, facial features, anything that makes these guys look human. There's also another interesting thing that's done. we have the bottom of the boots, and this was one of the coolest things, and perhaps one of the most experimental ideas that was played with the D class. The idea actually spawned from a yogurt lid, which was a bit of an interesting source of inspiration. The idea is that when these guys die and their bodies start to break down, any blood or fluid or urine, any bodily fluids can be drained simply by unplugging the back of the boots.
And this kind of harks back to the thought you put into it. It's not just a suit, it's a garment of death, where if, like you said, it's watertight pretty much. They cinch down the wrists, the ankles, and the only exit point for those body fluids would be the the spout and the heel of the boot, which is just terrifying. And there's just a lot of stuff going on the uniform that I knew it was going to be kind of a bit to tackle to keep it optimized on the poly count and everything, but also make it look high poly enough so it has a little bit of eye candy, so it looks good enough. But I think we definitely realized your design pretty well, and I'm very happy with the way it came out. It was definitely it was a puzzle doing the D class that you made, because there was so many different pieces on it. If you really take a look at it, there's a lot of pieces on it, and a lot of thought in the concept art that I had to put in. We want to keep it one material. We don't want to have too many materials for too many draw calls, so we want to keep it one UV map, one material. Of course, that's only for the main uniform. Then we have all the headgear, all the different variations of headgear. Those are all on one UV map as well, one material. But what's really cool about all these different variations is now, instead of one type of D class running at you, you're going to have a variation of different headgear coming at you, or you don't know what kind of D class you'll run into, which is pretty cool, I think.
Yeah, and I have to say, like, the level of attention to detail and the depth in which you've gone into texturing these guys and modeling these guys and really refining that silhouette, I'm just amazed at how you approached it, because honestly, it turned out far greater than I ever thought it could. And to see it realized this is phenomenal. And even just small details, things that you help to just solidly improve the design. A good example of this.
Appreciate that.
A really good example of this is the straps along the back, right? Because when we first approached it, there were we had different we had ideas about what kind of material that should be, and I remember it was you and I were both sitting and going through it, and I remember it didn't look quite right, but then you played with just a few different patterns, and we just sort of settled on something that just worked perfectly. It was it was like,
and that really speaks to that. This wasn't. Yeah, I modeled it, sure, but this was a team effort all the way through. Like, if you didn't come into the chat and looked at it and you were like, let's try this material instead of that, and it probably would have stayed that old way, and I never would have updated it. And so, just this is a team effort, and if I didn't have a good team behind me, I don't think it would have ever turned out that good.
No, it's fantastic. It's awesome to see so many different elements all come together and produce something of such a high caliber. That every aspect of this design has a purpose, and every single purpose
it really does.
And every single one of those purposes is now actually realized through the way that you've modeled it.
Yeah, we got marvelous designer nowadays.
These suits that these guys get into, that these people are trying to reduce their, either their life sentences or their crimes. They're trying to reduce that by volunteering with the Foundation. I can't even imagine what would go through your head having to strap yourself into this suit, knowing that full well that you're probably never going to leave it.
Like this is your end right here, pretty much.
Indeed, you're absolutely right. And on behalf of the team and everyone involved,
We are very excited for everyone to experience the D-Class in the next update. So thank you all for letting us share this with you. There will be more to come.